We are now.
Oh, baby, you got what I need.
Oh, my.
But you say she's just a friend. You say she's just a friend. Anyway,
baby.
rest in peace this week to Biz Markie. Listen, it was a slow week in sports, evidenced by the fact that the Chief was sending us group texts about Spike Ball that he was watching on ESPN. Nonetheless, we have built an entire show based on the Man Events group text this week. We have Major League Baseball All-Stars, a lightning boat parade. You can't fix stupid, and the GOAT doing GOAT things. I am Beloved. The Chief is on location. Pooh Bear in studio, and TSG first responding somewhere. It's Sunday, and this is the Man Event. What's up, gentlemen? Dude, are we looking good in the Man Event swag this week or what?
I'm a little embarrassed that we all wore the same thing.
Fresh and fly.
So,
Well, you and Pooh Bear dressed up.
yeah,
Similar.
Yeah, we'd like to thank our sponsor. Oh, wait a minute. We don't have a sponsor.
No.
We'd like to thank ourselves for the new swag. Wow. How's everybody's week been?
It's been slow, man.
It is.
Nothing on TV.
It has been slow.
not for me. I've been busy. I've been flying back and forth across the country, doing some work, just making new friends at TIA. So
new friends. What new friends did you make at TIA?
That's my man Bert that you referenced in the opening. So my flight to
wait, totally. You're on first name basis now. And before it was just some guy.
Well, no, we had time. I was like,
now it's Bert.
I mean, what do you? So, okay, my flight's delayed. And I'm like, what am I gonna do now? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I'm by myself. I'm like, well, there's a spa over here, or there's the bar over here, where I can sit and watch, whatever they're showing. So I get over there. I choose the bar, and I sit down, and dude, they are showing ESPN, the mothership, ESPN, not the Ocho, but ESPN is showing Spike Ball, and I have no idea what. I actually thought this was a joke. And I'm like, they cannot. I said, what is this? I don't know the rules. They haven't explained the rules. And so Bert sits down, and
Bert.
I'm like, hey man, I said, dude, do you know about Spike Ball? What are we watching here on ESPN? And he goes, I don't know. And so another couple sits down, and we start talking to them, and they have small kids, so they were able to tell us a little bit about Spike Ball, but they didn't know all the rules. So we kind of made up our own just from what we were watching. But I was in all honesty, I was like, what is sadder? The fact that I am flying by myself and, I'm sitting watching ESPN Spike Ball, or that ESPN doesn't have anything else to show besides Spike Ball, which is eventually a modified version of Foursquare, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let me address the first part about flying by yourself. I do this all the time. That does not make you a loser.
No. Well, I was flying because of work. I had to come back. My family is on vacation. I took the boat up to the lake. Boat's broken. Another story. Anyway.
Sounds like every Man Event show we've ever had.
Yep.
I had to fly back. I had to work a couple shifts, and then I was going back. So that's why I was flying, by myself.
So my question, I'm more interested in Bert. Is Bert watching tonight? Did you promote the Man Event to Bert as we are the Spike Ball, the number one Spike Ball YouTube show?
We have all the same questions. I want to know why I haven't seen an alert that Bert is a new subscriber.
Yes.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
So, okay, so I apologize because I was really more interested in learning about Spike Ball then I forgot to,
Then converting Bert to a main event fan.
It didn't even cross my mind.
Oh man,
I know,
Chief. This is why.
Okay.
Were you representing the colors on the flight?
I wore it on the flight down. On the flight back, I didn't. It was washed.
Okay.
I threw it in my bag. So, no.
All right.
Missed an opportunity. Sorry, Bert.
Well, Bert, if you're out there,
thanks for tuning in.
The Chief. Thanks for keeping the Chief company. By the way, I've seen this spike ball thing. It's fun.
It looks like a lot of movement for fat people. So, yeah, no. I mean, I could do the slamming down on the mini trampoline, but the movement, the cycling, it's not happening for Big Boy.
I think the interesting thing to the Chiefs' point is this was on regular flagship ESPN.
Yes.
Not ESPN 2, 3, or Ocho. This was on the flagship ESPN. When was the last time any of y'all watched like Sports Center?
I quit watching Sports Center when it was the same episode at 9, 10, and 11. I don't even know if Dan Patrick is still on the show.
Wow. Nope. He's been gone for a while for sure. He's been gone for a while for sure.
What sports does Sports Center cover? What does ESPN cover anymore? I have no idea. It's not golf. It's not football. It's not baseball. What do they cover?
Well, they have a couple of issues. One, people have stopped consuming highlight reels via ESPN. There's way too many avenues to see your highlight reels. So that's part of their problem. There's some other problems. There's political reasons. They get way too political in some of their shows. They have a lot of outspoken hosts who have been in and out of trouble for their political views. Keith Olbermann mainly being one. I don't know if he was released because of that.
Dude, he's been gone from ESPN a long time.
Exactly. Matter of fact, he had something to say about Nikita Kucherov and his celebratory outfit following the Stanley Cup championship.
What do you mean lack of outfit, right?
Yeah, right. It was basically he's sitting there out of shirt making face. It's a number one BS. So he had something to say about that, of course, because he's an idiot. But anyway, so yeah, they've all gone. Scott Van Pelt.
Yes, all of the great anchors that they've had, they've let go over the last couple of years. I'm assuming it's a money thing. These guys and gals are on contracts that they can no longer afford when they probably don't have the viewership that they once had. But tell me if I'm wrong. ESPN still has Monday Night Football, right? Or Thursday Night Football? They have one of the footballs.
I think they have Monday Night Football.
They have Monday Night Football.
I think Amazon Prime or somebody like that is going to get it next year. Maybe not 2021, but 2022.
They've had a co-partnership for some time. They do. Amazon Prime gets the Thursday night game, and there had to have been a way, because I don't have ESPN via cable service, so I watched every Monday Night Football game. So there had to have been a way.
You stole it somewhere.
No, I didn't. No, I
think they show it on ABC. Still carries them.
Listen, Pooh Bear, there's no shame in that game. I watched the entire NHL season and raised baseball on the Chiefs account. So there's no shame. There's no shame in that game.
No, I've got no problem with that. That it's just I just knew there was a way I was getting it that wasn't.
By the way, the FCC is going to shut down the main event tomorrow.
I know, man. We don't want to advertise that.
He was the one, not me.
It at my house.
That's B-Love.
Oh man.
Anyway,
yeah. So switching gears, so the Lightning boat parade this week. But you spoke at Kucherov. You see he got picked up this week by that beer label by Bud Light.
Bud Light paid him. He's like, hey man, you're our guy. Let's go.
Probably a smart move.
He's fantastic, man.
You know what's so good about hockey is the fact that they dented that hockey. They dented that trophy.
Yes, they did. They dropped that thing,
dude. And it's not a little dinger; it's a dent. You know, and you know what? It's a matter of pride at that point. I mean, when you think
that thing is sunk in completely on one half.
But if you had done that to the Lombardi Trophy, just by throwing it, people were losing their mind. But you dent the Lombardi Trophy, and they're like, "Yeah, I mean, that's what hockey players do. It can be fixed. It's metal.
It's already fixed. It's already fixed. Matter of fact, I missed out my photo opportunity. It was supposed to come to my work on Thursday. Okay, so it was dented on Monday. Actually, Wednesday. It was supposed to come up to my work on Wednesday. It flew out. It left the parade via the cup handlers back to Montreal. It was repaired by the official jeweler of NHL.
Do you
It's
think
just
that hurt
pewter.
them a little bit to have to fix it and send it back?
No, they said this is nowhere near the worst thing that's happened to it.
No, I'm just saying the fact that Canada lost and now they have to.
Oh yes, because it goes to Montreal. It doesn't
Yeah.
just go to Saskatchewan or someplace. French Lick with Canada. No, it goes to Montreal.
Yeah.
The people who just lost the cup.
Yeah, French Lick is in Indiana, Pooh Bear.
Whatever. That's Canada. So it goes back, and it was supposed to be at my work on Wednesday, not my specific office, but my municipality's office. And I was gonna get a chance to go see it, but it came back on Thursday. So I was like, so maybe I'll get another chance. But yeah, it's already back and it's already doing its rounds. They sent it off with some of the players who may or may not be here next year, some of the free agents, people that are likely to have some transactions happen to them, like Ross Colton, or not Ross Colton.
Whoa.
What? Sorry,
Yeah.
that's not who I meant. But
knock on the wood.
well, I am. Anyway, so there are some players that have already gotten a chance to have a day with it because they may or may not be with the organization. And matter of fact, they made a trade on Friday. They traded Bradley Goodrow. The Jeep, he's gone. Been traded.
The Jeep.
Doors off, tops down. Bradley Goodrow.
So going back to Kucherov, we were talking right after the Stanley Cup Finals, our victory show, that it felt like Kucherov didn't really show up all that great for the Stanley Cup Finals. And we learned this week that he played the entire finals with broken ribs. Ribs. That's remarkable to me. Like, we're talking about hockey.
Yeah. And there was what? 2 other broken hands. There was a torn meniscus. And then, of course, Killorn with a broken fibula.
Yeah.
And he was trying to skate. He skated that morning. How do you skate with a broken leg?
Because you want to lift the cup. Yeah. You want to win.
Bro.
Yeah,
Chief is over here. Rib. Did you just say it's not his tibia?
It's not. Look, the fibula is not a. It's not a weight bearing bone. It's I don't even know. It's some other bone in the lower leg. But it's the small. I broke mine. I broke mine sliding into third base. It is the small.
Yes, you did. I was there.
It is the bone that makes the little ball on the outside of your foot. Your ankle. That's that bone. It's one of the 2 mains, tibia and the fibula. And my leg was black from my ankle to my knee on that side.
Yeah, that was nothing like your hamstring, though.
No, God, no. I can still walk with that, but I could not walk with a broken tibia. That was there.
I'm fibia, not fibia.
I want you to imagine for a moment Pooh Bear sliding into third, breaking his foot, ankle, like whatever, and we had to help him back into the dugout and into his car. Think about that for a minute. By the way, at that time, I probably weighed about 160.
Yeah, you were definitely much smaller. I was a little smaller.
So a number of guys playing hurt, but I think Kucherov, again, we said he didn't really have that great of a Stanley Cup Finals. We see why, but man, like the extreme pain these guys must have played through. Yeah, that's no joke,
Yeah, that tells you right there how dedicated they are to winning, how important it is to win this cup, and how hard it is. You may never get another shot. As good as the Lightning is right now, these players may not have another shot in their entire career of playing for that cup again.
Yeah.
Don't tell Moreau that. He thinks that this happens every year.
Oh yeah. He's already trademarked
that's why his hands were a little soft. He's the one who dented the cup.
That's why it wasn't anything else. It was
no. Hey, tequila. Hey, Tom said that tequila makes everything lighter.
And according to him, it was on a table, and this was in the family-only lounge, by the way. And I guess the floor was wet or something, and someone slipped, or he slipped into it, and was trying to protect it, and fell, and that's when it got dented. So, but
I've tried that story before. It doesn't really work with me.
Well, I get it, and being the fact that they had the day they had with the boat parade and all that stuff, I would tend to believe it probably wasn't true, except for the fact that the cup handlers were there. They never leave the cup side; they're always there with the cup, and they saw what happened, and they were, there's no penalties or fines coming to them. So,
yeah, what's that guy's job like? The guy who you're just in what has that person seen over the years?
Yes, that's and it's a 365-day a year job. That has got to be one of the best jobs in the world.
Ooh.
What would you do with the cup on your day? I mean, I know there have been babies christened in it. I don't know how many people have drank out of it. Who knows what?
Oh, a lot of people have drank out of
exactly,
it.
Yeah,
I'm definitely eating.
I'm on the back of a jet ski. What would you do with it?
I'm definitely eating some Lucky Charms out of the bowl. That is 100% happening. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, I didn't grow up in a culture that has a different view or respect for the cup. I mean, I obviously respect it, but it's not deep in my veins, Yeah. So I understand that in some of these in Canada, that these guys, they have a different view on it. So I don't know.
A much larger respect is what you're saying.
Yeah.
For treating it with some reverence.
No. Irreverence. I think if you're not using this thing, like you're saying, eating Lucky Charms out of it or having a drink out of it, then you're disrespecting it. I mean, it's supposed to be like a part of your life.
Listen, Chief, I know that you recently won the boot camp trophy.
I did.
And you showed up to boot camp with that thing around your neck like a necklace. You documented your entire week of having that trophy.
One day, I had documented the day with it. It was a day at work. Yeah, it was funny. I had it at the gas station in the morning, and then we showed it. I put it on the bumper of the engine. So as the sun was coming up, I got a picture of that. Then it went to headquarters with me and made rounds. It was a fun day. So, yeah.
What would you do with it then, Chief? What would you do with your day with the cup?
Oh man, I would definitely take it to family, and show it to the family. But I think I've got to eat some either fried chicken or chicken wings out of it. I feel that's just necessary. That's it's I know it's not something to be proud of, but I do love them. So
are you gonna put the bones back in the bowl, or is it just gonna be the freshly cooked wings?
You think it's just the bone? You think it's a bone ball? You're gonna get. Oh my gosh! Can you imagine that? Hold on, let's think about this now. You got a bunch of guys hanging out, and then everybody.
That's where you put the bones from your ribs,
or put the blue cheese in the bowl, and you're.
Oh, I don't know about
that's a great idea. You're gonna have chips and dip.
I think the point is there's no wrong ideas with this thing.
No wrong ideas.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So the new hockey year starts this coming Wednesday with the Kraken, the newest NHL Expansion franchise, and their expansion draft. By the way, does anybody know the rules of this draft?
I've read them. I don't fully understand them, but I've read them and get what.
Can you give us the cliff notes a little bit, Pooh Bear?
Basically, each team has to have a number of players that they protect and a number of players that they unprotect. There is a way you can designate some forwards and some defensemen. You have to leave unprotected at least one goalie, I think. And there was two different ways. You can either have 4 defensemen unprotected and then like 6 forwards, and then vice versa. You could unprotect 1 forward and have an extra defenseman, which is what the Lightning chose to do. They chose to protect more defensemen than forwards. And then there's salary pieces, like each person you leave unprotected has to be at the 60% threshold of your salary, or making 60% of the upper percentile. Wow. Yeah, so there's a lot of, and they can't be players with 3 years of experience or less, but they have to have at least 100 and something games of experience. There's a lot of quirky little rules, but basically the Lightning are going to lose 1 player.
Yeah. So one of the things I found interesting, and we'll talk about who the Lightning protected in just a minute, but you look at some of the players that were left unprotected throughout the NHL, like Carey Price, who is one of the elite goalies. We just faced him in the Stanley Cup Finals. They left him unprotected, and the strategy there is that the Canadiens, they feel like his salary is too high for the Kraken to take on.
Right.
Yeah,
So you saw a number of teams who left unprotected players with big salaries for that reason.
Yep.
And I thought that's a huge risk, because one of those guys is going to go.
Yeah.
Somebody's they're going to build their franchise around one of those guys.
Yeah, they're going to take a flyer, not even really a flyer. It's a pretty sure, these guys are all talented. So you're right. They're going to put their largest percentage of salary for one of these players. Probably, I would guess Carey Price would be a good choice for that.
Well, I mean, goaltending is a big deal in the NHL.
Well, that's what the Vegas Knights did, and that's the other point. This template is
that's right. They took Andre Fleury,
right, who is the only team who won't be losing a player too, which I found was incredibly ridiculous.
That's garbage. Yeah,
because they're too new apparently. But the template is there because this just happened 3 or 4 years ago, so everyone kind of knows the little trick you're talking about there, exposing your high value or high salary players because the risk of losing them is low. So I think Carey Price would be a good one for them to start with. Goaltending. Listen, we saw how important goaltending was in the Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the Lightning, they protected Cirelli, Kucherov, no surprise there. Braden Point, Stamkos, no surprise there. Cernak, Hedman, no surprise. McDonough, no surprise. Sergachev, no surprise. And obviously you protect Vasi, right? So there's a number of players out there that were integral to the Stanley Cup run the last 2 years that are out there unprotected. So I pose this question to you based on that list. If you're the Kraken, who do you take from the Lightning?
I think I take Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
a good
that's it. I wrote down, obviously, I wrote my notes ahead of time and I just put you guys on the spot. So I had time to think about it.
Well, I've got my list. Steve always complains about not having enough screen time. So I want to let him get in there.
That's the chief, by the way. That's the chief.
Yeah.
Nailed it, by the way.
I wrote down Ross Colton. And the reason I selected Ross is he's young. Tyler Johnson is closer to the end of his career. Right. Ross Colton has a franchise-friendly contract right now, and he's young. And you could build, your first or second line around him as an expansion team.
I agree. And same thought on Johnson. I think he's a little too old in the tooth, a little too long in the tooth to start a franchise with. Although I think depending on who you get from other teams, like we talked about last week, he would be a great fit for your fan base. He's a local boy who could instantly generate excitement about the team. If there's not already enough, I don't live in Seattle, so I don't know if there's excitement about this team or not. So that would be the only reason I wouldn't go with Johnson is just his age. I think Killorn's kind of in that same camp for me. Killorn's been around a little bit. He's a great role player. I mean, I love having him on the Lightning. I don't want to see him go. But I can see why Seattle.
But I think he's another one that doesn't have a young franchise's. He doesn't have a friendly contract for a young franchise.
Probably not. Yeah. So for me, I think Ross Colton would be my first choice as well. For all the reasons you listed. If not, I would probably go with here either Andre Palat or Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde is an amazing player who I think, again, depending on who they get, he could be their first or second line guy right off the bat as well. Scrappy player. Love him.
Poober, how many rounds is this? Do they just get to pick one player from each team? I mean, there's 30 teams. Okay.
Yep. So they'll be taking 29. There's 30
they're the 30th team, so there's 29.
Right. So
they'll make 29 selections.
28.
No one from Vegas.
Right. No from the Knights. Okay, so 28 selections. So
they
can only take one. They can only take one player per team then.
Right. So it really doesn't matter what way or how they go about this. They've already examined the list. They kind of knew. It's like it doesn't matter if you take somebody from Pittsburgh first and then go to Toronto. It doesn't matter. You're getting all the players you want.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what order you go in, is what you're saying.
Correct. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this shapes out.
Yeah, I mean, and you looked at didn't the Vegas Golden Knights, the last expansion team in NHL, didn't they go to the Stanley Cup that year?
I think their
expansion year, I believe.
Yes,
they
didn't go to the Stanley Cup. They didn't win, but they went.
And then they've been in the playoffs every year of their existence, which is enough of an importance.
It's crazy to me how they do that. I mean, and I guess maybe hockey is a little bit different because you're only protecting 8 players. But like I go back and I think about Major League Baseball expansion and the NFL expansion. Those teams were horrible for years.
Yes,
they had to build through free agency and the draft.
Right.
And in hockey, you're getting an opportunity to basically put together a playoff team.
Yep, that's what NHL wants.
The last time the NFL had an expansion team, they were allowed to go ahead. They were able to take players from each team, so they weren't that bad from the beginning. Who was the last team to expand?
It was the Browns.
Was it the Browns that did that? Because I remember out of Jacksonville, they picked Baselli, the left tackle. He'd been there for his entire career, and then Baselli said, "I'm not going. I retire." So that's another factor. In your pick, you hate to waste your pick on a guy that's the end of his career because he may not want to start over again. He's like, dude, why? Why would I go for another year and just get beat up?
I think the Baselli thing was the Texans. He went from Jacksonville to the Texans.
Yeah, the Texans were an expansion team too. You're right.
Maybe that's where that went. Yeah.
So, but I think the Browns had a similar. I think maybe Texans were the last one. It's hard to remember. There was a lot of.
I don't know. I tell you what. I mean, going back to talking about being a slow week in sports. I mean, when you think about it, all we had was the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. No NHL, no football. I think I understand there's a finals going on in another professional sports league. I'm not really sure what's going on.
And the bouncy, the hoopity. Something's going on there.
Who you got in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Chief? Hey, wake up, Chief. Dude,
is anybody even watching basketball? I mean, I don't know anybody who's watching this thing.
Especially, I think my understanding is Milwaukee is in the nobody's watching that.
I can guarantee you, without a doubt in my mind,
Javi is watching.
Jeff Javi is all into this.
Chef Javi's watching it. You're right.
Hey, there is another sport that's playing this week though. That's golf, but the problem is, you have to get up at like 2 a.m. to watch it.
Well, and everybody withdrew because of COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I mean, while we're talking about that, we had this for later in the show, but the Olympics is coming up.
Oh. Dude, you know what? So here's the deal. I feel sorry for Tokyo for this because you lay out billions of dollars to build infrastructure, to build arenas, get your hospital. Not hospitals. The Olympic Village. I'm trying to say.
All the hotels. Yep.
Oh, it's an enormous undertaking, and of course, you're supposed to get it all back and then some with the tourist dollars and exposure to your city that the whole world's going to be watching. And now you're just watching, people in masks, and it's not even going to be the A team. It's like whoever is willing to stay.
I think that's the problem. That's the problem that I have is, a lot of these players are starting to opt out for COVID concerns. Some of them are not going because they got COVID or were exposed to somebody who has COVID. There's going to be no fans, which, obviously we saw professional sports survive without fans. So we know that can be done. But I just think why at this point, why bother? And is the Olympic with all of these players that are opting out or are being forced to opt out because of all these athletes, I shouldn't say players, because of COVID, is the Olympics even relevant this year? Are the best of the best there?
Probably not. Like for all the reasons just explained, they're probably not going to be the best players or the best athletes, because we're just thinking of it from the lens of the United States as far as the athletes we hear about. What about the athletes we don't hear about from the smaller countries that participate? The Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas and all these smaller, even some of the European countries, Slovenia and whatnot. They send players to competitors to compete in these things. Maybe they're not going to be there now.
I don't know. I'm starting to feel like maybe this is my year. Like maybe I could be there.
Oh my gosh.
It's just sad because I really do love the Olympics.
No doubter.
I love the Olympics too. Like I'm the guy who's at work watching it on the other monitor or the TV in my office or whatever.
I'll watch the
I don't
feel competition.
I don't feel like as excited about it as I have in years past. And like I know, I mean, like obviously they postponed it last year. You know, if you postpone it again this year, you might as well drop back and punt for.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for the athletes who train so hard
their whole life. You've waited your whole life to be an Olympian.
You know, you've trained.
Which, you know, of course, some of them smoked weed and ruined their Olympic dream, but that's a conversation for another day.
It's a conversation we had 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm sad all around. I'm sad for Japan. I'm sad for the viewers. I'm obviously sad for the athletes. But I'm in the camp of just cancel it. Just let it go. Put it in the category of, you know, missed due to whatever. This isn't the first time that major countries or portions of the Olympics have been canceled or suspended because of world events. You know, just let it go.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I say let it go. Let it go. Give it back to Tokyo in 3 more years. Let it, because they're set for it now. Let them have it 3 more years from now. And you know, I think the reality is, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. You know, we will be ready to see like the rebirth of the Olympics and stuff like that. You know, it'll be even bigger deal for them. So I know it's going to take a while, but it could be real cool.
I mean, just go into that too. And we talked about this a little bit last week. You know, are the athletes even geared up for it? I don't know. Did you see that again, we talked about last week about USA men's basketball. You know, like ever since they rolled out the Dream Team in the '92 Olympics, these guys have been just powerhouses in Olympic. Like, they lost to Australia this past week,
and that wasn't their first time. They had lost
something like they lost 2 in a row. Like since 1992 has the U.S. men's basketball ever lost 2? I don't think they
lost 1 game since like 92.
Period.
That's it, and to lose 2 or 3, you know, this season. You know, just in warm-ups. And
so far, they're just expositions. So they're not even, you know, real. And in their defense, they're some of their best players that should be on the team are either A, out with COVID, or B, playing in the finals.
100% I agree with that. But I don't think that basketball is as relative as it once was. It is not. It is not what it once was.
Well, the U.S. is no longer a dominant powerhouse. I mean, half the players in the league now come from Europe.
That's true.
I'm sorry, not half. A larger portion than previously before are coming over from other countries.
Yeah. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. Before we get into Major League Baseball, we had some really great stories this week that are kind of fun, and let's make fun of some people. So how about Pooh Bear? We just roll into you can't fix stupid, and let's make fun of some people.
All right.
All right, so my favorite you can't fix stupid. We got 2 this week. You guys see the report of this woman. Her name is Lorraine Graves. I got to call her out by name because this is legit.
She deserves to be called out by name.
Her name is Lorraine Graves. The Tulsa Police Department makes a Facebook post of a wanted, most wanted, or whatever
reward. It was a reward.
Yes. And she is wanted for a homicide.
Yeah.
This woman actually responds to the Tulsa Police Department's Facebook post.
Well, you have to get her posting right? Because there's humor in that as well about her ability to type.
Oh, you got to share it with us, Pooh Bear.
I just had it. I lost the thing. Crap.
She's like, "Yo, girl." That's her friend. That's her friend writing back.
Her friend wrote back and said, "Stop it! You're an idiot."
Yeah, they said you can track this stuff. They can track this stuff.
Okay, so
and they did.
Her exact quote was, "Where's the reward money at?"
Where's the reward money at?
What apostrophe S? Where apostrophe S? The reward money at? She ended the sentence in a preposition, which is just horrible. You don't do that.
And then she got arrested. And then she got arrested.
Then all her friends were responding back, "Girl, you better stay off of social media. They can track you."
They were right.
And somebody else said, Lorena Graves ain't going to be funny. That's funny when you get processed. Oh, anyway. But yeah, so Tulsa Police said, "Oh, okay, we know where you are now. We're coming to get you."
And one of my friends said, then they posted the pictures of her sitting in booking.
Yep, with a smile on her face.
On the same Facebook post.
She is a murder suspect, and she's sitting there with a smile on her face. Golly.
Hey, Pooh Bear, you can't fix stupid.
Can't fix stupid.
You can't fix stupid.
And that is the ultimate stupid right there.
Oh, man. So the second story, this was kind of funny as well. But there's a woman this week flying to, I don't know where, she's on some airline. She fakes being pregnant.
Yeah.
In an effort to conceal her bag that she didn't want to pay for.
Good on her. I don't know how stupid that is. That's actually pretty genius.
No, that's stupid, man. Dude, there is no room in the seat. I mean, I don't know how long the flight was, but if her flight is 2 or 3 hours and she's gonna sit here with this belly, up against her just so she doesn't have to pay a $20 bag fee. Come on, man. Pay the bag fee. Give the guy next to you a break too, because that's the way it is. It's just things falling over into this.
Well, it's like that. Speaking of falling over,
I'm still here. Oh, man down.
Man down.
But let me tell you what, though, there is something to be said about the benefit of having a child with you or being pregnant, to where you can take advantage of things like that. Listen, I'm not going to be ashamed to say that I think my son was up until 6 years old. We were still toting around a cooler to Legoland, so just so we can get an extra food and drinks, because they wouldn't check it because they thought it was baby formula.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to bring in a cooler if you have baby food or baby formula. But not if you just have a couple of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, because you don't want to buy $25 slices of pizza.
Oh, dude, how good are Uncrustables, by the way? When was the last time you had an Uncrustable?
Like yesterday.
Me too, Pooh Bear.
There's a freezer full of them down there.
I love those things, man. They're like crack cocaine. And hey, Chief, they're only like 210 calories or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them. I know other friends that like them too, but I've tried them, and like the strawberry and the grape. I don't know.
You got to go grape. You got to go grape Uncrustable, yeah.
Hey, my middle schooler, she's into the habit now of making her own. So like she'll take a full 2 pieces of sandwich.
She knows the recipe. To make it Uncrustable.
The secret hidden recipe of peanut butter and jelly. She does that, but then she takes a cup and she presses it out like a cookie cutter to make her own round sandwich. I'm like, what?
Now, does she then freeze it?
No, she doesn't freeze. She eats like that.
So basically, she's just cutting off the crust.
Yeah, right. But I'm like, well, why? Just eat the sandwich. Or cut off the crust. Why do you have to do the cookie cutter and waste other portions of the sandwich? She just popped her head out. Yes, I'm talking about you.
Listen, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Pooh Bear. I know for a fact that although she cuts out the middle of it, that you eat the part that she discarded.
No, I did not. I would, but I did not. Missed occasions.
Oh man,
I would.
All right,
so my game.
All right, so those are some pretty good You Can't Fix Stupids, and long live the Uncrustable. So, Major League Baseball this week, the only thing pretty much going on was the Major League. Did you guys watch the Home Run Derby, by the way?
Yes.
No.
Love the Derby.
I was on vacation, man.
That is vacation.
I was going to say, it is.
I may have been on a plane at that time.
I was disappointed because I was looking for Ohtani to have a big home run derby victory. He lost in the first round in essentially sudden death, which was kind of weird. Yeah. If you watch that first round, like they were tied at the end of regulation, they were tied at the end of overtime, and then it's a three swing off.
3 swings, yeah.
Dude, his opponent three swings, 3 dingers.
Juan Soto.
Cool. So at that point, Ohtani he's got to hit 3 straight home runs, and he popped up the first one.
Yep.
You're out.
Yep. But yeah, Tampa's own Big Meat Pete, Polar Pete.
Good.
Big Meat Pete. Wow.
Big Meat Polar Pete wins the Derby again, back to back.
Yeah, back to back
against Trey Mancini, who is also from the Tampa area. He's from Winter Haven, which is a little east of here. But man, that was just good to see. I love that kind of stuff. That's a lot of fun.
So you're saying that fits into Tampa Bay?
At 100%, we're claiming it. We're claiming all championships related to Tampa Bay this 2-year period.
So even though he doesn't play for Tampa Bay because he's from Tampa Bay, we claim he's Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah.
He went to the high school that was the sister to my high school. They were built at the same time. Whatever, on the other side of town. Kevin,
he went to Gaither?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gaither. Same with Kevin Cash. You know, obviously 30 years apart, whatever, but went on to play at University of Florida. I thought you two big Gator fans would know this.
All right, wait a minute. Are you sure? I think Kevin Cash is your age, Pooh Bear.
He is my age. But Polar Pete's not. Pete's like 22. Yeah. Pete's not. So, but you know what?
Are you trying to tell me Gaither is 30 years open?
Longer than that. Longer than that.
Oh,
it's so it was. I think it was completely 86. 86, or I think Bloomingdale was 87 when it opened, and Gaither was 86.
No, Bloomingdale definitely wasn't 87.
It definitely was 87.
Oh, it was 87. Yeah, Harvard was 84.
I'm
just feeling extra old right now, so I'm like, holy cow, this school's been open.
But let me tell you what I was left with. So one of the questions we hadn't gotten to yet for us was about what we did during the break, and something I've been doing for the past few months is just going back through my baseball cards and stuff and little hobby thing, and I was doing that a lot this week too. But it struck me watching the Derby. The crop of young talent we have right now in front of us with all the juniors, Acuna Jr., Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Tatis Jr. Then you go into the Polish.
Biggio. What about Biggio?
Yeah, he's a junior, right? And even the other one, the shortstop, Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette's son.
Bichette, yep.
But not just him, but you go into Shohei Ohtani. All the young pitchers that we see right now, they're just dominating. It is so refreshing to see this large crop of players into the baseball. We haven't seen this in a long time. I mean, right now, if you look at the outgoing kind of Hall of Fame type players, right? The Albert Pujols, yep. Verlander, Yadi Molina. There's very few of them, right? There's some of them, but not as many. And current stars like the Trouts, the Bryce Harper's, Jacob deGrom. You know,
even those guys have been in the league for a long time,
around 10 years, right?
Yeah, they just been in the league since they were 19.
Yeah, but there wasn't that. There was 5 of them, right? There's 4 or 5 guys that came in at one time that you're like, wow, these are great. But you go into looking at Soto and they seem to have the staying power, and that's why I was going to with the baseball cards, because value is in your play and how well you play, your performances, your awards, your win series. The players I was looking at, they were terrible. They were great at the time for a season or two, and then they faded off. But it really seems like this crop that we're seeing right now has the staying power to be Hall of Famers, maybe all at once. It's just really refreshing to see.
So here's the interesting thing. So Prebar, you've been talking a lot about these ball cards. And I got a guy who I work with. He posted on Facebook yesterday. I'll share this with you. He says, I went to a baseball card show today. Some of y'all my age have a 401k sitting in boxes in your attic.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, it is so. And now the market really peaked in probably February. And it's definitely come down since then. But the value that is in these cards right now for a lot of people is. For a lot of people, it's nothing. Like you look at it, you're like, oh, I've got a whole stack in there, but it may not be worth a thing. There was a whole period of that where it just isn't. But the cards that are valued very highly. I mean, they went from $10 when I was a kid to now they're in 10,000. That is the insane part.
Wow, that's crazy. So a couple of things. Let's talk specifically about the Rays. So, by the way, the Rays show up to the All-Star game. Originally, Zunino is the lone All-Star. We get a couple of guys in by virtue of people opting out or injuries. Well, listen,
it doesn't hurt that Kevin Cash is the manager. So
it doesn't hurt that Kevin Cash is the manager. But hey, Zunino does what Zunino does.
Mm-hmm.
He goes ding dong.
Ding dong.
Right. And man, it was cool watching Kevin Cash from the dugout when Zunino hit that home run. Just like how excited he was, for one of his guys. And, we had, Wendle went out there, got a hit, had some amazing defensive stops.
Yep.
And then, we had a perfect inning. And right.
Kittredge came in and pitched 1, 2, 3.
Kittredge. Yeah. Pitched a perfect inning. So it was cool to see Tampa show up and make an impact. American League wins. So cross your fingers. We might have home field advantage for a World Series that we don't have to go all the way to Texas for.
So you could say,
or get COVID,
to dovetail with our Tampa Bay discussion, you could actually say Tampa Bay is responsible for the All-Star game. I mean, I don't think it's that much of a stretch.
I'm going to go with Vlad Guerrero had something to do with that too.
He was just the first one to score. There was a lot of other guys that scored. He was just the first one, so they gave it to him. Whatever.
Hey, but the Rays have continued to show up even after the All-Star game. They had the extra inning game on Friday night.
Yep.
And, as soon as they go to extra inning, I think they've lost 6 extra inning games in a row.
Yep.
And those are hard. Those hurt to lose those games. And, they came back. They won that one. It's good to see, that they went ahead and got that off their back. And let's just go ahead and, keep it rolling.
The kid went, 9-0 loss, but
after that.
yeah. Well,
but I mean, like no Wendle, no Kiermaier in that lineup. There was somebody else prominent missing from that lineup yesterday, which was odd for me to see. They all just got a bunch of days off. Why are you giving guys day off on day 2? Sometimes I'll never understand the way we do things.
Well, Wendle, because he was gone for the week of the All-Star game, so that makes sense. But But hey, here's the interesting point that I just kind of came up with as we're talking about this. Friday night they beat Charlie Morton, and today they beat Drew Smiley. Both
former Rays,
both ex-pitchers. Hey man, the Rays know what they're doing. They let somebody go.
Well, it's one game.
That was 2 games. That was 2 examples.
Those guys are still good pitchers.
They are. They are.
So Pooh Bear, what are your thoughts about? There's a lot of rumors out there about Scherzer.
Man, that was one of my favorite rumors.
Coming to the Rays in a trade. A lot of people made a big deal about him and Kevin Cash spending quite a bit of time together at the All-Star game.
There was pictures taken with the 2 of them. Well, there was more people in the picture, but they were together. I would love to see Max Scherzer here. I do not want to see the Rays give up literally the farm, the Durham, to get him. But I'm sure they could find some pieces to move, to package up together to get him. It's typically not their style. It's not something they do. They're normally sellers at this point, not buyers.
Yeah.
But if they don't get Scherzer, another player that just had a tryout, not really tryout, but a showcase on Friday was Cole Hamels, who has not played at all this season. Last pitch with the Braves last year. That's a potential. That is something they could and would do because you have nothing to give up. He's a free agent. Yeah. All you have to do is come to the table with the best price and the best situation, which hopefully he sees. Although I was just reading the story about his performance, and he just barely got up to 90 miles an hour, which is like.
Well, I mean, if you're throwing junk though, 90 is relevant.
Yes. If you're locating,
if you're throwing junk, so. We're about 2 weeks away from the All-Star break. From the trade deadline. I mean, are these are the Rays, if they're going to be buyers, is it pitching that they need?
Absolutely. It has to be pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing they're lacking the most. I mean, they could obviously use a big, dedicated, more powerful bat, but that's not their style.
I feel if they can keep G-Man Choi healthy, they've got.
Yeah, between him and Zunino, it's just that they're not their bats aren't hitting. Austin Meadows is not hitting. Randy Arozarena is not showing what he showed us in the playoffs last year. Yeah. Lau kind of was. He went into the All-Star break with like 3 in a row, I think. 3.
Well, they need to put him back in leadoff. He was hitting well from the leadoff spot.
Right. I think that it was almost like the worst time for the All-Star break to come for him was then.
He finally starts hitting. Yeah.
But you're right. If G-Man can hit, but it's a lot of ifs and buts and nuts. If.
That Pooh Bear said nuts on a television
Nuts,
show.
nuts and butts.
I'm just saying again, the FCC is going to be calling this week. If only we could get that famous, though, right?
Right.
Chief, I feel like you got something to say.
No, so I've heard rumors about Glass now. What do we know about Glass now? Because that's a pitcher that we desperately need back.
He was throwing this week. He threw, just played catch essentially. Nothing off a mound, nothing high speed, just playing catch.
That's
which
the first
is
step.
Right. It's reassuring. It's good to see. The only beef I have with that is if he's going to have Tommy John surgery because this is an actual tear.
Let's do it now.
You're just prolonging that. You've already missed
now
almost 2 months of recovery time for him, and depending on his contract, we may never see him pitch for the Rays again if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to have Tommy? The last I heard was that it wasn't a complete tear. It was almost a strain. In all honesty, I didn't hear it was a tear.
It's not a tear. It's a strain close to the bone, but it could become a tear the next time he goes to pitch. You see, so the only fix for this is to have Tommy John surgery, which is an 18-month recovery.
So I don't know if that's actually true. If it's not a tear, it will reattach. It can. These things can, work their way back in. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, look, these guys know more than me, believe it or not. So it's
they do.
Yeah, that's what it seems odd.
Yeah,
but they do. If they feel he can throw, let's throw. It's either he's gonna. Let me put it this way: he's either going to tear it all the way or he's going to be good to go. So I think that's probably what they're saying. They're saying, let's throw.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm saying is that if it does tear on his next throw or his a week into his return, the Rays just wasted 4 months of recovery time
that they could have been recovering. Yes, I'm with you, Pooh Bear. If he needs it, let's do it now. But I understand
they're not going to. They're not going to dissect it.
But I tell you what, though, if they became buyers at the trade deadline and they got the pitching they felt they needed for the stretch, you might see them shut Glasnow down.
Yes.
If they don't, they're going to push to have Glasnow pitching.
Yes, I can see that 100%.
Glasnow pitching. So, let's kind of end on this. We got just a couple minutes left in the show. I said in the intro, we saw the GOAT doing GOAT things. So it's disclosed this week that Tom Brady played the entire season with a torn MCL.
Speaking of tears.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, you got to be able to have – look, we knew he's not mobile. He has never been mobile, but we didn't know how immobile he was.
Right.
But we know what it does show, though. It shows that the NFL, that the pocket passer is still relevant. When everybody else wants to go to the scat backs and, these crazy formations, if you're a good quality quarterback, all you got to do is drop back and win Super Bowls. And you don't have to move.
It makes me think like, okay, had they shut Tom down and he had this MCL surgery, which would have put him out for a significant period of time, the narrative would have been, I can't believe Tampa signed this has-been. I can't believe Tampa signed this 42-year-old court. Like, could you have imagined the people coming out? Like, first of all, the three of us would have been on that bandwagon.
We just skewered him. We would have
skewered him, yes.
He would have gone from the GOAT to the scapegoat. We would have laid all the blame on him.
One of us called him the Billy Goat.
Yeah, we can go back and roll the tape. I wasn't on the Tom Brady bandwagon until about week 9 or 10. When he.
Oh, we know, Mr. Billy Goat.
Yeah, I was opposed to him coming here. I'm glad he's here now. I'm glad he won the Super Bowl. It was a good time.
And in your defense, these are all the types of things that you normally see in a player of his age, right? That he's already very. He's not known for his mobility, and now you have an injury which would sideline virtually any other athlete, not just quarterbacks, but athletes.
So did anybody say when he injured the knee?
I don't think he said, because I don't think he can. He's already under suspicion of, trying to hide, at least the Bucs are, of hiding this from the league, which is a no-no, and they could result in suspensions. And
so you're saying that there might be disciplinary action because they didn't disclose that he was on the injured list?
Yeah, more than likely against the organization than it would be to him. I don't think there's a penalty for him not telling his the coaching staff, but there is for the coaching staff if they didn't disclose it to the league.
I've heard of speculation that Tom may be suspended for some games this year.
Yeah, I mean,
knock on wood.
Yeah,
take it back.
It can't happen. We don't need. Hey, we got Kyle.
We might see Kyle Trask.
What? Hey, what if they suspend? I guarantee. They are not going to suspend him for week 4. I promise you that. Because that's when we go to Foxborough, and the NFL wants that game to happen.
Yes, they do. They want that game bad.
So I say no more than a 3-game suspension for Tom Brady.
Could you imagine that if they did pull the trigger on a 3-game suspension? His return game is the game back in – oh, my gosh. Mind blown. So hopefully there is no penalty. He's claiming so far in the interview I saw he did not disclose the injury to the Buccaneers, which would absolve all of them of any wrongdoing. But yeah, as far as when he did it, no telling. I can't remember the last time he snuck a ball into the end zone or did he kind of a dive, except I think it was the Bears game, which was a Monday night or something. What?
I believe he ran for a touchdown in the playoffs.
I think he did. I think he did around the left end. I believe he did.
He ran for a touchdown in the playoffs.
Okay.
I believe so. Well, listen, we still need to have the the party where we watch the Super Bowl DVD. Yeah. Of the Buccaneers. See, I got the Blu-ray. It's lined up, ready to go.
I think we should watch both of them. We should go all the way back to 2002. Watch that one.
Yes, we should. We should watch both of them back. Listen, we can fire up the smoker. We can make some ribs. Yes. Let's do it.
Yes, it's like a preseason.
Oh, now you're blowing my mind.
All right, next week. I'm back next week. Let's do it.
Okay. Oh man. What else we got?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is about all. Like we said, it's a slow week. And we talked about spike ball.
I still don't know the rules of spike ball, by the way. So watched it for an hour.
Oh, man.
No idea.
I would imagine it's got to be like something with volleyball. Like you only score a point when you're serving or something. I don't know.
Tennis. Like I said, there's a lot of movement. You throw the ball in the mini trampoline and you move. And that's just not my thing.
Yeah, the worst thing is it doesn't really translate on TV very well because it's a small ball, it moves quick, and you're like you don't really know where it went except you see the people reacting to it. And it's
have you ever watched hockey on TV?
It's a little bit like watching hockey then,
yeah. You know, one of my favorite Olympic sports now that we're talking about that is I love water polo.
Oh dear, I thought he was going to say icing. Holy cow, man! I was like, not icing. What's that?
Curling?
Curling.
Oh, I love curling. Oh, curling is amazing. There's so much strategy in curling. That's a winter sport. You don't have to worry about that in Japan.
Yeah.
But water polo, I feel like I could play water polo and be pretty good at it.
No, you couldn't. Just like you can't jump over a pool. No.
Beat-up, take us out of here on a high note, man. Let's go, man.
You've got to tread water the entire time. You can't do that. Oh, man. All right. That's going to do it. I'm going to take us out of here before we run the train wreck. Thank you for watching. If you have stuck around this far, go ahead and subscribe to our channel because you don't want to miss any time we upload a video. Do all the YouTube things. Click the thumbs up. Click the bell that lets you know when we post something. And try your best not to go out and fix stupid because you just can't.
Have you ever met a girl that you
We'll be back next week, 7 o'clock. Say good night, Chief.
Good night.